If you're looking for that one camera body, that one lens that'll give you the most versatility to shoot photo and video, then look no further. This camera kit right here is the ultimate setup for the everyday enthusiast. So earlier this year, my family and I took a trip to Puerto Vallarta. I ended up settling on 2 camera bodies and 2 lenses. Really, it just came back down to I want to have a kit for taking photos and another kit for taking video. Because if you're somebody like me who is an enthusiast when it comes to photography and video, it's never just a photo trip or just a video trip. You know, you want to be prepared for both scenarios because you just want to, record those memories. So I ended up taking the Sony A1 with an 85mm. I just really love the 85mm focal range, and that was more my photography camera. Then on the flip side, I ended up taking the Sony a7IV with the 16-35 G Master, and that was gonna be my vlogging setup. Well, what ended up happening is that I'm still learning how to pack for trips, and it just so happened that I ended up taking way too much gear. We were gonna drive from Mexico City to Puerto Vallarta. On that road trip, it turns out we didn't have enough space for me to take all my gear. I had to leave the Sony A1 behind, and I was only able to take my Sony a7S III with me. Gosh, man, like for me, the Sony A1 is the perfect camera. I just love the color science on it. Obviously, it has all the features that you could ever need in that camera. You got the 50 megapixels when it comes to photos. The only thing that throws somebody like me off about that camera is having the flip out screen. It would have been the perfect camera if it had that flip out screen, simply just because if I want to record myself, and I know people say that the A1 is not a vlog camera, and yeah, you're right, but for me, that I do a little bit of everything, I need the all for one, right? All for one for all. And so going back to the meaning of that phrase, it would have been everything for me if it had that flip out screen. Because it did not have the flip out screen, I had to leave it behind and take the a7S III with me. And still a fantastic camera. I just really wish it had more megapixels. Regardless, while I'm on this trip, it was a good experience shooting with this camera, and we got some really great photos and video. But throughout my entire trip, I couldn't help but feel a little limited and almost frustrated because I couldn't do things as fast as I was wanting to. And I know these are all nice problems to have, but when you're there, you're in the moment, this is a moment that you're never going to get again, and you want to record that moment. Having the flexibility to quickly switch between photo and video is just, it means a lot, And these are the kind of things that drive me insane, and I'm lying there awake in the middle of the night trying to figure out, how can I solve this problem? How can I make this better? If you're a dad, you enjoy, family videos and photos. If you're looking for the ultimate setup, then look no further. All right, so without further ado, this is what I've landed on. This is the Sony a7IV. This right here is what I believe the ultimate traveler camera for video and photography. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into each one of these items. So as I was saying, the Sony a7IV is the perfect camera when it comes to traveling. And honestly, it's a great camera just for pretty much anything, because I feel it's like the best of both worlds. Yes, it does have some cons, but for the most part, I don't think you'll really miss any of them. The biggest reason why I love the camera in this form factor, simply because of the toggle system that is on top of the camera. This little toggle switch right here that allows you to switch between photography, video, and then S&Q mode has been life changing. Yes, it's changed my life, and it's just hilarious because it's just so awesome. It's just one of those things that you don't really knew you need until you actually have it. Like going back to what I was saying earlier about you're in the moment, you're trying to take some photos, and then you want to quickly switch to video. Toggling between these 3 settings is so easy and fast. And not just that, the camera operates very, very quickly as well. So switching between photos and then video is a breeze. And that is one of my favorite new additions to this lineup. Number 2 is the color sign. So I've always said that there's a difference between the Sony A1 color science and the a7S III. I just feel like, I don't know what it is about the a7S III, it just has that green tint, and I feel like they fixed that on the Sony A1. I feel like the color science that was on the Sony A1 was put into the a7 IV. You know, that's one of the other big reasons why I was like really excited about this camera, because the colors that you're getting off the video and off the photos as well is just really good. You also got the 33 megapixel sensor, which is great. You know, it's not 50 megapixels, which a lot of the times ends up being a drag anyway, because it just ends up being a ton of memory. It ends up taking up a lot of space on your hard drives, and it ends up being a lot, whereas 33 is a lot more manageable, and you're actually going to see less noise in your photos just because of the smaller megapixel count. Now, the only downside that I would say about this camera, wait, hold on. Before I get to the downsides, I forgot. This is the best thing right here. You got your flip out screen. Oh my God, it's just, yes, like it's awesome. I love that. The only downside that I would say to this camera is the slow motion. If you really like shooting slow motion, you know, you can shoot up to 60 frames per second on this camera, but on APS-C mode, which means that it's just gonna crop to a 1.5 sensor size. I ended up looking back at some of my travel films, and I ended up realizing that I never really shoot in slow motion anyway. So honestly, I haven't really missed it as much, and it's been fine for me to shoot if I want to shoot in APS-C mode. Not a big deal. All right, let's go to the second item on this list, and that is this lens. So I ended up choosing the 24 to 105 millimeter f4. So when it comes to the lenses, it was actually a hard decision, because my goal in thinking through this was, how can I just take one lens? You know, how can I not be switching between multiple lenses? One, just for weight, and then two, like when I'm out there, we're walking, hiking, whatever, like I don't want to be carrying multiple lenses, you know what I mean? I really wanted a lens that had the most range available, and so the 24 to 105 was a happy medium, simply just because I felt like it hit all of the major ranges. Now, I do wish that it could have gone down even further. The reason I say that is because I wanted a lens that I can use for both photo, video, and then part of the video is vlogging, right? And so when I'm vlogging with this thing, like 24 millimeters, like it's fine, but it still looks a little tight. I think I can still make do with it, but I do wish that it was a little bit wider. So basically you got the most popular ranges on here: 24, 35, 50, 70, 85. That was something that I really wanted to, because some people were like, why not get the 24 to 70? And I'm like, I really like shooting at 85 millimeters. Like, it's one of my favorite ranges, and it sucks that the 24 to 70 doesn't go up to 85. Like, I wish it would have been a 24 to 85. Like, that would really have sold it to me. And so this goes all the way to 105, which has been really great. One of the other reasons why it's awesome for video as well is that you're gonna get optical steady shot. And so you're gonna get an extra layer of stabilization when it comes to shooting with this, which is really awesome. And honestly, it's a kit lens, but it takes some really good photos. Like I've gotten some really good photos with this lens. I've even gotten photos of birds, and they're actually really sharp. So it's actually really great. The other nice thing about it is that, I mean, it can be a good thing or a bad thing. It's an f4. I do wish that it could open up a little bit more, but honestly, the fact that it's just f4 throughout the entire range is really good. And on top of that, these cameras, like, I don't really worry too much about shooting at high ISOs. Like, I think for the most part, the recovery with these softwares has become really easy, and you know, I'm not really too concerned about it. All right, so now let's go to the third item on that list, and that is this free well filter. So if you're like me, right, like I said, you like shooting photos, you like shooting video, like being there in the moment, you need to have a good ND filter system. And what's really sucks about, you know, the other filters that you screw on is just that fact alone, right? If I want to switch between shooting photos and video, I am most likely will either have to put on an ND filter or take off one through that entire process. And again, to be screwing it on and off, you already lost the moment. You know, you end up putting your camera away afterwards, right? Without having shot anything, because you just took too long. And so the free well filter system honestly has been really amazing. Like, this is one of those purchases that I tell everybody about, because I just really love how these filters have made, you know, shooting and capturing those moments a lot easier. And so what's really great, you already know, you just kind of put, you've probably seen, a ton of people talk about this already, but just being able to like magnetically put these filters on and off has just been really great. Like, I'm basically here shooting some photos. Oh, I want to capture some video. I usually just have this in my pocket. I take it out, put it back on, and then boom, just start shooting video. I got my ND filter like right here, and it's all pretty awesome. Like, and so the cool thing is you have all these sleeves and polarizers. Like, you have, like, I have a 2 to 5 right here. I don't know if you can see that. And then basically, if I turn it around, I got a CPL filter. And then I have my base filter here, and which I could even turn into a mist filter. So if I do want to have a mist filter, like, I can just put these on and off. Like, I'm not missing any moments. I'm capturing everything that I want to capture. This filter system has been amazing to work with, and I definitely recommend it. There it is. The fourth and last item on this list is basically gonna be this microphone. Like, I don't even know the name of this microphone. I'll go ahead and put it here in the video. Sony has some really weird names when it comes to their microphones. It's ridiculous. And so this is basically the microphone that interfaces with the hot shoe. And it's great because, if you use those other kinds of microphones, like, first of all, you have to check if there's battery, if it's fully charged, and then you have to remember to turn it on and off. I've had several of those, and it's just always really frustrating. When you're traveling, the less you have to worry about the settings of the camera and all this other stuff, like, and everything just works, and it works really well together. Like, that's what you need, right? And basically that is what this microphone has provided. Like, it's super minimal. You're not dealing with any wires. Like, it interfaces directly with the camera. You don't have to be setting audio levels. You can just put it on auto, hit record, and boom, you start recording, and there you go, right? So honestly, this has been a really amazing setup. Like, I ended up buying like a little half cage down here at the bottom. Like, this really isn't necessary, but I ended up buying that just so I can have some extra space down here when it comes to my pinky. And then on top of that, I do have a quick release strap that is compatible with this plate. So I just put it on and off, and it's been really great to work with. So if you're looking for the ultimate travel photography and video kit, look no further. This is it right here. If you want to check any of these items out, the links are down below. And if you like this content, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be trying to do more of this kind of content. So thank you. See you all next time.